In the land of Skyrim, you are always going to come across some punk-ass bandit that tries to rob you. These swits are often too drunk or too skooma-addled to realize that you are the Dragonborn of legend. So naturally, you slaughter them all with ease. But unbeknownst to you, you have inadvertently made some spouses widows, some parents childless, and some children orphaned. You fucking monster. Now that I've finished gaslighting you, hi, I'm Neloff, and today I have a very, very weird video today. I am going to be ranking all of the orphans in Skyrim, from least needed to be adopted to the most needed to be adopted. Now, before I begin, I must say that I will only be discussing children that are already orphaned. Unlike my last video, I'm not going to be suggesting you destroy some innocent child's life by slaughtering their parents and adopting them for yourself. That's a bit fucked up even for me. Additionally, this will be my opinion. So, if you have a child you prefer to adopt over another, that's perfectly fine. All of these children should be adopted anyways in my opinion, so no harm done. Unless you got offended and sent the Dark Brotherhood after me, of course, then a lot of harm has been done. Anyways, on with the adoption paperwork. Francois Beaufort. Francois Beaufort is an Imperial, although his name is Breton, so I like to assume and speculate that Francois is half Imperial and half Breton. Anyways, Francois is one of the children who resides at Honor Hall Orphanage. He is last on this list because his parents are not actually confirmed dead. According to Francois himself, his parents left him at the orphanage a year prior and said that they would come back to get him. Now, it is possible that his parents went the way of Cold Harbor, but it is possible that they didn't. He also urges you to choose one of the other kids if you try to adopt at Honor Hall Orphanage, believing that his parents will truly return. That is why he is ranked last, although let's be honest, his parents ain't coming back. Samuel. Samuel is an Imperial boy that resides at Honor Hall Orphanage and has been there his entire life. His mother worked at the orphanage but died soon after Samuel's birth. Samuel is often seen as the leader of the group and is probably very helpful to the other orphans. You can adopt him if you want, but I think adopting him would remove him as the leader and teacher for the rest of the orphans. I do like Samuel though. He admits that he will often leave the orphanage occasionally to hustle, which I gotta respect. Hror. Hror is rather generic. He's a Nord that also resides at Honor Hall Orphanage, but not much is known about him. His mother named him Hror after a lion's roar, and he seems to be the strong man of all the orphans. I think he's cool based on his name, but I just think there are other kids that are in much more of a dire state. Runa Fairshield. I would make an argument that out of all of the orphans at Honor Hall Orphanage, Runa is the most deserving to be adopted. She is the only girl out of all of the orphans at Honor Hall, and because of this, she gets picked on and forced to do all the chores, which just pulls on my heartstrings in all of the saddest ways. Additionally, she claims to be strong and quick and can do any chore, but she's most likely channeling the spirit of Belethor to convince you to adopt her. Nothing else is really known about her backstory except she is a Nord and she appears to be a very determined child. Now, you may have noticed that I have put all of the orphanage kids at the bottom of this list. This is simply because while life is hard as an orphan and they all deserve proper homes, they still have a roof over their heads, a shitty looking bed, and Constance Michelle as a maternal figure. The same simply cannot be said for the rest of the children I will be listing. With that being said, let us continue debating which innocent children should and shouldn't be adopted. Blaze. Blaze is a Breton farmhand that works on Catless Farm near Solitude and takes care of the animals and the garden. Before becoming a wage slave, both of his parents were in the Legion, but were unfortunately killed in an ambush, leaving him all alone. Blaze's living conditions are pretty bad, with him being forced to sleep outside in the barn with the fucking horses. And while Solitude isn't pouring with snow, it is positioned right below the snowy mountains of Hjalmarch, meaning Blaze is forced to sleep outside in the cold. The fucking freezing cold. If you adopt Blaze, he could surely take care of your horses, and you could teach him some fire magic to make his name all the more fitting. Lucia. Lucia is an Imperial orphan who resides in Whiterun. When Lucia's mother died, her aunt and uncle took over her farm and kicked Lucia out. When she arrived at Whiterun, she had no idea what to do. Brenwyn took pity on her and told her to ask the citizens of Whiterun for money. Lucia has it rough because she has no opportunity to work for food and is forced to sleep outside. Luckily, Whiterun doesn't seem to be that cold, so sleeping outside may not be as bad as some of the orphan sleeping conditions, which we will see right now. Alisan. Alisan is a red guard and a runner in Dawnstar who delivers food to the miners in town. He doesn't get paid much, but he is allowed to sleep by the fire in the inn most nights. Alisan has it really rough because he is constantly tired from all the running and being in the mines constantly out of breath, and is possibly destroying his lungs at such a young fucking age. Additionally, Dawnstar is a freezing fucking hellscape, literally the opposite of the Deadlands, and he sleeps at the inn most nights, not all nights. So there's probably been moments where he has slept outside in a motherfucking blizzard. Alisan deserves better. Sophie. Now, Sophia the First over here is very near and dear to my heart. With each character I make in Skyrim, I always try to change things up with my spouses or the children I adopt, but even still, I always find myself always adopting Sophie. I may be a little biased here, but let me explain. Sophie resides in Windhelm, which is already a miserable-looking city where it constantly snows, and Sophie's mother died when she was very young, and as well, her father most likely died in a battle as a Stormcloak. The only thing she could do to afford food was to sell flowers, but almost nobody buys flowers from her. And after a hard day of trying to sell flowers, she will sleep outside of Naranya's house next to a barrel. In the freezing cold every night! First of all, if you don't buy flowers from Sophie on the spot whenever you encounter her, you are probably a Molag Bal worshiper. Second of all, Sophie is without a doubt a child who needs to be adopted the most. Every child in the game has a chance of surviving through their very harsh childhood conditions. But Sophie's odds are alarmingly low, and the odds of her dying out in the freezing cold, it's just astronomically high. That is why I believe Sophie is number one, and why there is a possible chance I made this entire YouTube video just so I could beg you to adopt Sophie. And that's all I wrote. A video where I ranked children based off of the need to be adopted, which is pretty fucked up when you think about it, but let's do what House Telvanni does and ignore the morality behind this video. I really do hope that you enjoyed this video and would ask that you like the like button and like that subscribe button, and I will see you again whenever the fuck I decide to upload. House Telvanni be with you.
Please, O hero of Skyrim,